my fellow gods and goddesses, my name is Heather and welcome to my channel. This is my first YouTube video ever, and I wanted my first video to be the first in the series called Judge a Book by Its Cover, where I do a makeup look inspired by a cover of a book. And for this video we will be doing Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr. Before getting into the video, I just wanted to preface this: I am not a makeup artist. I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't know what to do with my hands, so love that for me. If you guys want to see how I created this look or my review and thoughts on this book, let's keep on watching. I already primed my eyelids and I did my brows, and I'm going to start off by going into the Libra shade in the Zodiac palette. So let me first start off by describing the synopsis of the book. So Wicked Lovely basically is where fairies live among us and they're invisible to us unless they wish to be seen. Aislinn, our main protagonist, can see these fairies, and she has been able to see these fairies since she was born. I am now going to go into the Morphe 35B palette. I know this is discontinued and replaced by the James Charles palette, but just use whatever the hell you want. Is anybody even following this tutorial? Probably not. Aislinn has had the ability to see these fairies, and an important part of that is making sure that these fairies don't know that she can see them. If they find out that she can see them, they will likely blind her, they can kill her, they'll torture her, all the stuff that you obviously want happening to yourself, right? In order to live her life with as much freedom as possible and with as much safety as possible, Aislinn lives by 3 rules. Don't talk to these invisible fairies, don't interact with these invisible fairies, and don't attract their attention. Now, for most of her life, these rules have worked perfectly. She has, of course, for the most part, learned the ways of these fairies. She knows their behaviors, she knows what they do, she knows the weaknesses of these fairies, she knows how they avoid them, etc., etc. But all of this changes when she is starting to be stalked by 2 high court fairies. Now, in this world, there are 4 courts. There is the summer court, the winter court, the high court, and the dark court. And she is being stalked by 2 high court fairies from the summer and the winter court. She has been able to keep her life a secret from her best friend Seth up until this point. He does not know she can see fairies, he does not know that they exist, none of that stuff. But as soon as she begins to be stalked by these fae, she needs somebody to confide in, and that person is Seth. Let me just take a quick detour and talk about Seth. You guys likely remember the craze of emo boys, those boys with the swishy black hair and the piercings and the jewelry and the all black. Well, that's literally Seth. So, of course, I was absolutely and utterly in love with this man. Since she is being stalked by these 2 fairies, she confides in Seth, and he helps her navigate and try to research these fae, try to see anything they can do to stop their advances, and just kind of figure out what the hell they want. So not only is she being stalked by these high court fairies that has completely turned her life around, they start getting bolder. There are 2 court fairies stalking her, a person of the summer court and a person of the winter court. The person of the summer court is actually the Summer King, and he has begun to stalk her and approach her with his glamour, because he doesn't know that she has been able to see him this whole time. During his advances, she rejects him, which basically is the most surprising thing to ever happen in his life, because he is a fairy. He is literally the embodiment of the sun. He just doesn't understand rejection. He doesn't know her. He has never experienced that in his life. He doesn't take no for an answer, which, I mean, would never happen in real life, ever. A man accepts that no means no. We don't know her either. He goes ahead and joins her high school. He is very much determined to get what he wants. The reason he is so adamant on getting Aislin's attention is because of the curse placed upon him by his mother, the Winter Queen. Until he finds his Summer Queen, he cannot come to his full ability, and the Summer Court cannot thrive as it needs to. It cannot just be any girl. It needs to be the Summer Queen. And there is a test to determine if she is the rightful Summer Queen, and that is to touch the Winter Queen's staff. If she is the true Summer Queen, then her powers of summer will be able to override the chilling frost of the staff. But if she's not, she becomes a winter girl, who is then tasked with convincing whoever Kieran is trying to court to not take on the challenge. So Danya is the winter girl. She is the last girl to take on the test. She obviously failed and became a winter girl, which is basically just a servant of the winter court. And so she is tasked with convincing Aislinn to not agree to Kieran's advances, which she's already doing anyways. She knows how dangerous he is. She knows to avoid him at all costs. However, Aislinn is kind of fed up with these rules that she's had to live with. She wants to figure out what the hell these fairies want. The book follows her journey in figuring out what the hell these fairies want, how she's going to handle this information, what she's going to do with it. And it's basically a story of her writing her own story and writing her own set of rules. So now I'm going to move on to the face. I am going to prime with the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. Then I'm going to follow up with the Maybelline Fit Me in 120 because I'm a pale ass bitch. So you guys are probably wondering, Heather, why are you talking about a book that came out nearly 10 years ago? And that, my beautiful, beautiful friends, is because I am completely trash for this book.
Oh hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
The feelings that people have for Twilight, I have for this book. It was my first YA novel that I've ever read, just further fueled my love for reading. I remember going to the bookstore and I saw this cover and I instantly picked it up because I adored the cover so much. And at that time I was pretty restricted on what I could read. I couldn't read any explicit scenes, which is why I never read Twilight, because Breaking Dawn had, you know, that juicy Mormon sex scenes in it. I picked this up and I was like, Mom, please, can I get this book? And I kid you guys not, she picks this book up and she skims through the book just waiting for a giant dick to just pop out at her. It didn't. I took it home with me that day and I have loved it ever since. Aside from the nostalgia of this book, I really, really adore the contents of it. Now, I give a slight warning. This is definitely not the most beautifully written book I have ever read, but the series definitely gets better as you read further. Well, very much worth reading and picking up. If it wasn't the writing that I love so much, then why am I talking about this book? Why do I love it so much? And that is because our main character, Aislinn. During this time, there are a bunch of YA paranormal romances where a guy with this magical ability comes down and he's super hot and he just falls at the feet of this quirky girl that nobody talks to because she's just really, really pretty, but like she's a loner and nobody even acknowledges her. But she has like perfect skin and long flowy hair and her eyes are like piercing blue. So there were definitely a lot of those tropes going around. But Wicked Lovely kind of takes those tropes and puts them on their head a little bit. Describe it as how Bella should have acted in Twilight with the predatory actions of Edward instead of wanting to just get in his pants, which I mean, hey, girl has needs, I understand. Wicked Lovely does, like, Aislinn does reject Kieran. She doesn't put up with his antics. She makes her own rules. She creates her own story, and that story isn't necessarily based on the desire solely of man. She is incredibly strong. She has to carry out her life ignoring these beings that completely terrify her. These fairies are incredibly intrusive in her life and humans in general, and to us humans who can't see them, that's not a problem that they pinch us, they pull our hair, they harass us, they chase us. When we can't see them, then we can pretend that they're not there. But Aislinn has to witness them, she has to see them, she has to be scared by them, but she has to choose to not react to them. I went in with the NYX contour stick and now I'm going in with the e.l.f. contour palette. I know I look orange, I understand, I'm fully aware, but I want to look like Jennifer Lopez, and when you try to look like Jennifer Lopez with my white ass skin, you look orange, and I'm okay with this, you're okay with this, and I'm not going to hear anything about it, okay? Another thing that I really like about this series is the quote-unquote unpredictable romance that happens. It's not what you would expect of the book. It's kind of turns, again, these tropes on its head. It's very welcoming and different, which I very much enjoy. I am now going to go into the Dream Sequence palette by Colourpop. I'm going to take the shade Pinch Me, and then I'm going to go into another highlighter after this, because I want to cover my insecurities with as much highlighter as I can possibly accomplish. I am now going to go into the Fenty highlighter in How Many Carats and try to look like Rihanna as best to my ability. Oh, that is stunning. Do I look like Rihanna yet? I will once I blind you with more. I have never felt like a real beauty guru until now. So I'm going to do some last finishing touches. I'm going to do my liner, I'm going to do my mascara, lashes, lips, all of that jazz, and I will be back in a jiff. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. And please comment down below the next book I should do. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye!